So today I wanted to join the discussion around the grind in Destiny 2. We won't get into the nitty-gritty breakdown how grind works, but it's safe to say that the whole community has been shell-shocked by this change, and it truly is a pivotal change for the franchise. We're talking like something like a Diablo Light when it comes to character wiping and things like that are being introduced when it comes to seasonal power and things like that. And then on top of that, just like the portal, the drop rates and stuff like that, tier loot, there's a lot to go over, but we're going to keep it simplified and condensed and stuff like that. Now, before we do, just want to say, if you enjoy the content and want more from me, be sure to hit that subscribe button and bell to be notified on when I do drop more content. But yeah, let's jump in and talk about the grind conversation with Destiny. So a lot of people have been reflecting on the portal, on the drop rates, on the most efficient way to get to the max seasonal gear bonus of 450. Now, for one, I want to reiterate something. Someone actively going out there and doing one mission over and over and over and over because it's the most time efficient way of doing it is a choice. No one's telling you need to get to 400 as soon as possible, for example. You are choosing to do that. Now, at the same time, a valid critique to that is the fact that Bungie needs to do a better job within the portal on being efficient with rewards. As of right now, if we're being honest when it comes to time, if you're looking to optimize your grind, Fireteam Ops is something you just should not play. You're getting the same drops as solo ops, same loot pool as solo ops, and you're spending more time. So one thing to do is, I think this is a nice recommendation, I haven't seen people throw it out there, is you use the bonus drop feature, which is the green engram that incentivizes or at least tells you there's gonna be bonus drops for this because you complete a challenge and you got a bonus drop for Fireteam Ops, for example. You can stack these up to multiple ones and then you can cash in, but I would actually like them to have a rotator of different activities have bonus drops, and that bonus drop is always on. I think it's a nice way of just getting people away from the most optimized grind, for example, and making people play these because, hey, you're going to get 3 drops in 15 minutes versus 2 drops in 13 minutes with solo ops, whatever it may be. So it incentivizes and could be a nice little balance change to it. But anyone trying to get to 450 or 400 as fast as possible, doing one thing over and over and over, that's a choice. You don't need to do it. You're just rushing yourself. You can take a deep breath and relax. You have 6 months until Renegades to get to that cap. And when the next major update happens with Ash and Iron or whatever it's called, it's just going to be raised by 100 to 550. And then once Renegade drops, it's going to wipe to 200. So you don't need to kill yourself over this right now. Please, it's a choice and you're making it. But at the same time, I want to reiterate, Bungie needs to work on the overall drops being a little bit more efficient throughout all different playlists and actually matching time played because, yeah, it can do some limitations there. Another thing that's been happening is that people feel like the overall content in the portal isn't really being played or isn't much. For example, dungeons and raids, some peak stuff to do in Destiny, pretty much unplayable right now, guys, with some of the power deltas and things like that. Yeah, pretty much unplayable. Now, I know as of recording this, Bungie came out with some updates to like the deltas and stuff for raids and the challenge of that, but yeah, dungeons, raids, pretty much unplayable. They're not really offering much to do, and we have to wait until a Pinnacle Ops update in September. Not good optics, but sure, I guess. So the overall activity stuff, I do think when people are saying we're missing some of the content, they're not wrong. They're not wrong. I think the sense around the portal and kind of the game right now is that this is a Beyond Light moment. They've taken a lot of stuff away from us that we used to play, and now we're just stuck with less content than we had before. Beyond Light was a interesting time when it came to stuff like that, and I don't think that this is entirely true, but people that have that sentiment are not wrong because the portal isn't really doing a good job of giving us everything that we can do in the game and things like that. So Bungie, with this discussion that's being had, you need to start looking to maybe throw some Savathûn Spire into Pinnacle Ops for a different, it's a different version with different stuff, with Pinnacle Ops drops, whatever it may be. I don't know. Pinnacle Ops has some of the best stuff, but it is only exotic missions right now, which I don't think is ideal if we're being nice. The last thing I want to mention and talk about is part of this grind conversation I've seen is people talking about there's no point to hit 400. They're going to just give you more tiers sooner eventually. And yeah, we're just wait until, you know, they do something. They make you get tier 5s at 250 instead of 400. I don't know how I feel about that sentiment. I think if anything is tuned out, they make getting to 400 a little bit faster, but they want you to get to higher seasonal gears. Tiers are locked behind gates, let's say. 200 to 250, you know, you're kind of stuck around tier 2s and maybe a few tier 3s. 250 to 350, I guess you could say, you're really hovering around, you know, a little bit more tier 3s, and by the end, a lot more tier 3s, some tier 4s, maybe a tier 5 here and there. And then from 350 to 400, you're getting a lot more tier 4s. And then from 400 to 450, you're getting more tier 4s and a little bit more tier 5s. And then once you get to 450, theoretically, you're going to be able to get a lot more tier 5s when you want. That's kind of how they wanted to have the seasonal grind. 2 players. You want the best loot, tier 4s, tier 5s, you're going to have to earn it over time. And I think that's fine. I like that. I think there's a misconception. There is no rush to get to 400. You can play at your own pace, but don't let people say 400 isn't meaningful. Just get the 300, get the guns, get the rolls, stop playing, wait till the next update. They're not telling the whole picture. Loots are time gated or power gated behind power. So yes, the higher your power, the more better loot you're going to get, making RNG a little bit easier because, for example, weapons, you get a lot more perks on your drops. They also look cooler and things like that, and they're also enhanced in more ways. So yeah, don't fall into that, you know, little misconception there. I do think it's worth it, but in all, I think that this conversation is a good one. This is the first time ever making a Destiny video about something going on in the community where I'm sitting here neutral saying there's no wrong answers. Everyone is right in many different ways. And again, I think the most important part is Bungie gets the feedback about all this and they make changes on it with more feedback. Feedback is awesome, especially if they want to listen, which lately Bungie has definitely been listening. So I do think this conversation is going to lead into a more prosperous time for the portal, for the content grind and things like that. But yeah, that's all I got to say in this one. I know it's a weird one for me because I'm not against anyone. I'm also not for anyone. This is one of the first times in a while for Destiny that sentiment around something is fair across the board. It's so weird. But yeah, if you enjoyed the content, be sure to drop this video a like, helps the video a ton. And if you want more from me, be sure to hit that subscribe button and bell to be notified on when I do drop more content. But yeah, that's all I gotta say in this one. Hope you guys have a good one. As always, thank you for watching. It's greatly appreciated. Until next time, ShadowNinja here, and I'm out.